Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. We all are collected here for the third session of Pre Learning Hackathon Week. We are always curious to innovate something, as is the case of researchers. Today, we are honored with the presence of our speaker of the day, Mr. Vedant Bahel. He is currently research intern in University of Pennsylvania, and he is the founder of Data Deals, as you know. He has been a speaker at quite big platforms and is currently serving as a Microsoft student ambassador as well. We all welcome you, sir, wholeheartedly.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. So, shall I start?
Yes, sir, you may.
Okay, thank you. So, hi everyone, and thank you for having me here. I'm very excited to speak at this moment. I love to interact with people who are gonna be the innovators or who are the innovators. And hackathon is all about innovation because we are building great stuffs. So, I love to talk to such people. And without wasting much time, let's get started. So, I'll just share my screen. Uh, do let me know if you can see my screen or not. Let's see. Can you see my screen? Can you respond, please, once? Um, can you just unmute and respond if the screen is visible or not?
Hello?
Yeah. Is the
Yes,
screen
sir, your
visible?
screen is visible. Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So the topic today is from innovator to researcher. And the journey is really not that big. So the path between being an innovator and a researcher is pretty small. I'm gonna tell you how to cover this path and why to cover this path. So first of all, about me, as the host told, I'm research intern at University of Pennsylvania in United States. I'm working remotely right now due to COVID pandemic. I'm a Microsoft student ambassador. I'm a chapter chair for IEEE Computational Intelligence Society student run chapter at my university. I'm founder of three startups, like co-founder of co-founder of two startups along with other founders, and solely founder of one of them. So it's MedID, Data Deals, and Medalysis. MedID is something which I just started 2 weeks back. It is a Stanford University pre-launch startup focusing on healthcare, and that's my username on Twitter and LinkedIn, so you can connect to me. Now, before telling the importance of research, I like to tell you one story of Alex and Bob. So Alex and Bob are two brothers, and they're like very smart. They're always working on something, innovating something most of the time, all the time. But there is a difference. So Alex has got this characteristic wherein Alex tells about whatever he innovates to others, to friends, to colleagues, and other people. Whereas Bob is just innovating by himself, keeping the secrets with him, keeping all the ingredients with him, and not sharing with people. Although Bob is pretty much more intelligent than Alex, like Bob's innovation are great, quite better than Alex, but still Bob doesn't share it with anyone, whereas Alex's innovation are pretty less, but he shares with the whole world. Now, what happened is one of the Alex's innovation was great and was liked by everyone around the world. As I told, Alex shares his innovation and was liked by people around the world. People reached out to him and asked for collaborations. Now, what happened was, as I told, Alex was pretty innovation was pretty less exciting than Bob's, so it had some loopholes. Now, but when he shared it with everyone, people reached out to him from various part of the world, from various great universities of the world, and helped him overcome those challenges and build those loopholes. And thus, Alex's innovation became like Alex's with the other person's innovation became the greatest innovation of the world. Whereas Bob did innovate a great thing but never shared with anyone, and thus it remained just in the circle. And although it was the greatest innovation of all time, but it didn't get famous as of Alex. Now, what I'm trying to communicate is what is this thing that Alex did. How did Alex communicate his innovation around the world? Well, that's called research. That's called research paper. That's called research organization. And that's called conferences. You all are going to be innovating something or the else today, this week, and around the next week at this hackathon. But are you planning to keep this innovation with you yourself only, or with this hackathon only, or just sharing it amongst your friend only? Or are you planning to tell this innovation to the whole world? Well, if you are opting for second option, then this session is gonna be very exciting for you. And everyone should opt for the second option because first option is a dead end. Talking about research, what is research exactly? Well, don't worry, you do not need to create your own formula for energy and light or mass. You don't need to discover your own E equals to mc square, nor do you need to discover your own F equals to ma, nor do you need to discover your own algorithms which will transform computer science. But research is something where you research. You don't basically search, you research. You talk about what is already there and you try to improve that. You talk about what is already there, what loopholes it has. You try to find those answers for those loopholes, answers for those problems. And that's what research is. It's the creativity to enhance knowledge because you already have a knowledge of subject. And by doing research, you enhance your knowledge with a creative way. It's heart of every discipline of science. So whether you be in computer science, whether you be in electronics, whether you be in mathematics, whether you be in biology, whether you be in applied sciences, meteoroid study, astronomy, anything, research is everywhere. Can be done on any topic. You don't need to like it has not got just set of lists. You can do research on any topic. It's your will. What do you need to do? You can start with your own topic. That's what research is about. It gives you freedom to move across the globe anywhere and do research on anything. Trust me, any damn thing. It's innovation because you're innovating something. And that's what the title today is, Innovator to Researcher. It's the problem solving because you're solving great problem of the world. It's analysis and it's observation because before solving anything, you need to observe what the problem is. You need to analyze what the problem is. And after solving the thing, you need to again observe whether that thing solved your problem, whether what's the analysis now. Is it something different? Did it help? Did your work did your research work properly? And that's the question. Well, the question is how to get started. Okay, Vedant, I know about what is research, but how to get started? How do I start? Do I just start writing stuff? Well, no. Well, still, I'm talking about how to write research paper. But this is a question a lot of people ask. But before this, I'll like to tell you that it's not. This is not a right question to ask. How to write a research paper? You should ask how to start with research, because there is a fine gap. There's a large gap between how to start a research and how to write a research paper. You start your research by defining what is your topic. So the step one talks about confine your research area. Just you need to think of what research area shall I work on. Shall I go for cybersecurity? Shall I go for machine learning, big data, cloud computing, algorithm, networks? What else? And that's the most difficult choice which you need to make. Most of us have fixed research area, like we have got some areas which we work on, but sometimes we are confused because we are interested in machine learning, we are interested in cloud computing at the same time. In that case, just see what fascinates you more and go for it. And still, if you're confused, just do hit and trial and try out researching on all those topics, and let's see which one inspires you the most. The second is, once you have decided your topic, the second step is to look for some papers or some research work which has already been done in that topic, in that area. And you need to just read them. You need to read them and try to find what are the trends in that research area. What are people working on recently, right now? Because people just start with machine learning and write about linear regression. Well, but linear regression was discovered like decades back, and now we have moved on. So you need to move on. I'm not saying you don't need to implement linear regression, but I'm talking about research. So if you have got something new in linear regression, definitely it's good. But if you're trying to speak over the same algorithm, Then just move on. Just see what is going on recently in today's time. What are the loopholes with existing technology? What you can fill out. And for finding such papers, go to Google Scholar, which is scholar.google.com, which I've talked about here. Let's go with a laser pointer. Okay. So, which I've talked about here. Visit this website, find some papers in that domain, and then try your own research title. So, in step one, you just decided your research area. After reading few papers, you decide your own research title. Now, let's go with an example. Let's take an example of data science. So step one is done because I decided that I want to go for data science. Now what I do is on Google Scholar, I search data science 2020, which will give me some papers which are based on data science, which were published in 2020, in the year 2020. And they'll talk about some of the data science techniques, some of the algorithms, some of the problems, how to solve COVID, like how to assess in the times of COVID using data mining, data science, and stuff like that. And that will give you idea to work on your own thing. And then your title comes COVID-19 assistive system using advanced data mining tools. That's my title, and that's what I'll work on. And that's how you do these three steps. Now, there's a note which says there are different type of research paper. So there can be a review paper, there can be a research paper, and there can be a case study. Now, what is the difference between these three? Review paper talks about in here you don't actually do any innovation, you just read few papers. Like for example, there are papers on data science. There are almost 200 papers on data science, more than that definitely. Let's consider 200. You read about 100 of them, the best 100 of them, and then you try to put crux of all those 100 paper in your own paper. And that way, if a person wants to learn about data science, that person will go for your paper because your paper talks about all the 100 paper, and that saves time for that person, for the reader, because now that person will not have to read all the 100 papers. That person can just read your own paper, and that's it, done. So you create a content, a piece of content which is extremely pumped in with knowledge in lesser words. That's review paper. The third one, which is case study, I'll get to research paper later. The third one, which is case study, is just a study of the scenario. So maybe case study of COVID-19 patients in India, which will talk about how the cases rose, what were the problems, what were the milestones, what were the steps taken by government, what were the steps taken by the Ministry of Health, how did it affect, how was people behavior affected the scenario, and this will be a case study, right? Or maybe second case study can be use of data mining in business analysis, a case study of Big Bazaar. So if you know the Big Bazaar, which is the greatest chain, okay, let's not talk about Big Bazaar, Walmart. So use of data mining tools to analyze business problems, a case study of Walmart. This is something which is real life study of something, and then you put your opinion or analysis. And the second one, which is the famous one, is research. When you create your own stuff, which you are doing right now in this hackathon. So you create your own stuff, you create your own diagrams, you create your own hypothesis, you test on your hypothesis, you perform some tests, you implement that stuff, and you put your conclusion about how did that go. That's research. The general format for a paper or for a research study is this. You decide your title, then jump onto introduction. Well, we'll get back to abstract later. Jump onto introduction and write introduction of your research study. What are you trying to describe about? What are you working on? Which was well, like what is your motivation behind the project and stuff like that. Then comes literature review, which talks about what are the existing stuff, what was done in this domain. How did you jump onto the work that you are doing? Definitely, if you're talking about data mining in business, you need to talk about how data mining emerged. What was some of the work which was done till now? Was it done in healthcare? Can similar thing be implemented in business and something like that? So it's literature review. In here, you need to just talk about some of the existing papers and link them to references. So you need to put those paper in references and talk about them in literature review. The next is methodology or proposed project. So you need to talk about what is your methodology for solving the problem. and talk about the problem. What is your problem? And what is your methodology? What is your proposed project? Implement it and show the results in result and discussion. In the result and discussion section, you need to talk about what results did you get after your implementation, after your project, and discuss about it. How can it be better? Get some illustrations like graphs or some charts, some tables, which will talk about your research in a better way. Finally, conclusion. What do you conclude from this research? And what is your future goals with this research? What do you want people, the readers, to work upon? What do you yourself want to work upon after your research? That is conclusion. And finally, the references. Now, once your paper is done, you have got to publish your paper. And there's a certain milestone for that. Look for some relevant conferences or journals. Now, how to look for them? Just go to Google, type some upcoming IEEE or Springer conferences. They'll give you some list of conference. Just go to the website, go through the dates. If you can complete your paper by that date and submit it, the website also has certain format for your paper to be in. Download that format, put your paper into that format, submit the paper to the same portal, wait for acceptance because it takes a lot of time because your paper gets reviewed by a number of people, by researchers. They look how your work is. Is it something which can be published? Is it not copied because they don't want copied stuff? And once everything is done, they'll send you, great, your paper is accepted. Please make some minor changes and send the final copy. And once you do that, ta-da, you are a researcher. Even if your paper doesn't get published, they'll tell you what were the problems. Your paper was rejected due to the following issues: A, this, B, this, C, blah, blah. And then you work on these A, B, C, and then you again send it to another conference. And if your luck is good, definitely you'll get accepted. Now, some of the FAQs that people usually have about research is which conferences to choose for. As I said, go for some of the reputed conferences, reputed organizations like IEEE or Springer or Elsewhere or maybe some indexed conferences like SCI or Scope Indexed. So these are some of the terminologies like impact factor, IGRF, and stuff like that, which talks about how the paper is. So you can compare maybe two or three paper and then get down to what do you want to, where do you want to submit the paper to. Do we have to pay to get paper published? For conferences, yes, you need to pay. But for journals, they're mostly free. But there's a difference because journals is difficult to get a paper published in a journal. They again, journals usually they take about, and then they send you whether your paper is accepted or not. Whereas conferences work pretty fast, and there's a greater hope that you'll get your paper accepted for conferences. Although even 40%, which means only 30 to 40% papers are accepted out of the total submitted papers. But okay, fine, at least better. And if you're going for conferences, there is something which can get you the conferences for free. So you can appear travel grant or fundings. There are many agencies which support student researcher to publish their paper by sponsoring the registration fee and travel cost. So they give you reimbursement. Like IEEE, which sponsors IEEE students to get to the conferences and publish their paper. Most of the university and their research cell support students to get their paper published. They support with the registration fee and the travel grant. I have in Amity University, Dubai, UAE, United Arab Emirates, and everything actually partially was supported by my college research and development cell. So I got funding to present my paper. And this is how it works. There are tons of organizations like Tata Institute of Research, other research organization like SERB, that is SERB, which is an Indian organization, then Government of India, which is AICTE, under AICTE, All India Technical, what did I say? Oh, I forgot. Council of Technical Education. Lots of registration fee and stuff like that. Once this is what my Google public profile is. You can get your own Google research profile, which talks about all of your papers, which talks about year they got published, the citations, your area, um, your co-authors and stuff. Now this is exciting because this is something what professors or PhD students have, and this is one of the most biggest confusion that students have. Undergraduate students usually think that research is something which is made for only PhD or master students, which is not true. Research can be done by even undergrads like you and me. I'm an undergrad right now my third year. So these all things which I did was in my first and second year. And these are great. I mean, these conferences are reputed conferences. So even undergrad student in first or second year can get their papers and their work published in reputed conferences. Also, I'd like to clear I'm not a student from any IIT, triple IT, or NIT. Or I'm just a student who is from a tier 2 private engineering college in India, in Nagpur of Maharashtra. And it doesn't matter. Even if you're from any private college, in any low ranking college, it doesn't matter. You can still jump onto research. And the results show. I'm right now research intern at University of Pennsylvania, and I'm not flexing, but I like to just tell that such research are generally made for in some of the United States based organization. Well, I am not a master student, nor am I a PhD student, nor am I in United States, nor I come from a top tier university from India. Still, it shows what you work you do, that shows the result. So don't let anything be a barrier for you. You whether you are a student or not, whether you get support or not, you can definitely jump onto research. You can get to be penny. You don't need to be dependent on anyone. And my areas, I work on data science and machine learning. I primarily work on in the healthcare and education domain. That's what I work on in the research area at University of Pennsylvania. Some might say research is boring. Well, little bit, but it depends upon you how you can make it exciting. For me, definitely data structures is damn boring. Data structures is more boring than research, and that's why I'm not into software engineering. I'm into software engineering. development. I'm not doing those DSA algorithms on HackerRank and creating my profile to
Hello, sir. Excuse me,
Was
sir.
my voice breaking?
Uh,
I'm very sorry.
yes, sir. Your voice is breaking a lot. Can you please
Was it
repeat?
like from the whole time?
Yes, sir. From like last 10 minutes, I guess.
Can someone respond?
Yes, sir. It was breaking from last 10 minutes.
Rishikesh, Vinayak, hello,
Sir, am I audible to you, sir?
hello. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. You're audible.
And was what was the part that wasn't audible? I'll just repeat it if you want.
Sir, it was from the last slide. Your voice was continuously breaking up.
Okay, just the last slide.
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
So I was just talking about the research areas and the work that I did, and was telling how important it is that for you to understand that research is something which is not only made for people who wish to go for higher studies or people. Yeah, I know. Okay, I'll share the screen again. So I want to tell that research is not only made for people who are into who wish to go for higher studies or even for roles like software development at IT companies or other roles at IT companies. It is important in the sense wherein you create your own brand, you create your own work and show it to people. And they don't see when you do projects and list them down in your profiles in your resume. Uh, they usually the thing is they see your profile and they see those projects that you have done, but still they're like, okay, I'm not 100% sure whether this person did this project by his own. What did that person, his or her project, what did he do in that? So, but in case of research projects, it is already authenticated by these organizations like IEEE or these conferences because they do plagiarism check. They run through your paper 2 to 3 times to check your work, and thus even companies are assured because if they see a research paper in your profile, they're like, okay, I don't need to run a check for this person. I already know this person is great, has done a great work, and thus do understand that it is not only made for master students. It's also for undergrad students. It's also for students who it's for everyone regardless of whether you want to go and work as a software developer or software tester or cloud computer architect at any company, or do you want to go for higher studies, it doesn't matter. Jump into research. Even if you have slightest inclination, do reach out to me, I'll help you. And I just wanted to tell you that I wanted to keep this session crisp, because usually there are more questions than what I talk about. So that's why I just kept half our session. And now we can have discussion about your questions and we'll talk about them. So please let me know if there is any question. If you can put the questions from YouTube to in here in the stream. Which topic we can write on a research paper? Okay. So hi Shalini. So this depends upon what are you interested in. Research, as I said, you can write research on any topic, any random topic. Even if if you're interested in cloud computing, go for research. Like I'm talking about computer science. Even if you're not into computer science, even if you're into IoT or other stuff like sensors or something, then definitely you're good to go. In computer science, it doesn't matter, you can go for any topic. Even if you search on this link, which I'll appreciate if people can, actually you know about it, I guess. But even if you don't know, just go to this link and search for those topic and you will get the paper. So it will be great if you can flash that link on the screen, or you can put it in the chat of YouTube so that people can go through it. So it's basically Scholar, Google Scholar link, and this link will take you around all the paper, all the work that has been done. So you search about anything, any technology, I'm sure you'll get one or the at least minimum one paper on it. Well, one is very less, at least 20 to 30 paper on it. So I'm sure about it. So you can go for any topic. Any more questions? Mistakes that must have been avoided while doing research. It's all about hit and trial, because although I told you a certain format, but there is no certain format. You can go through your own way. It's about you tell what you have done, and it's original, right? So you cannot say that it is wrong because that's what you originally did. You found the results, and you cannot say these results are wrong because you did it. And that's why there are no mistakes as such. But definitely, you need to pay attention that you're not writing something wrong. For example, there were some instances where people wrote something wrong when they were when they were reviewing. So they just wrote the original concept wrong. I mean, if you're talking about machine learning, you cannot say machine learning is a part of electronics and telecommunication because it is made through some electrical stuff when you join wires together. So that's what I'm talking about. You need to be clear with your concepts. And another wrong thing, the most terrible thing which happens in this area is copying. Copying is definitely not accepted. Um, the great like quality journals and conferences, they go through your paper, they do a check on your paper, they compare it with other papers, and if they find that you're copying, they reject your paper, and they even can ban you from submitting any further papers. So there is a percentage. The term is called plagiarism or plagiarism, what people call it. And it's how it is done. There are some free open source plagiarism checkers. When you write your draft, you can just put your content in there and check what is the percentage of plagiarism. It is generally suggested that the percentage of plagiarism should be lesser than 10%, mostly like maximum 15%, not no more than that. And that's something which you need to definitely pay attention to, because that is the worst habit that is found people doing when going for research. Research versus innovation, what's the key that binds them together? Well, I guess that's the same thing. When you're innovating, don't you, so if you are taking up a topic, suppose you take up a topic at this hackathon. So don't you do a prior search on that topic? Don't you go for what already happened? What are some of the applications? Or if suppose if you are building a web app for some healthcare stuff, don't you see what already has been done in that area? Don't you go through how I can create a web app? Then you create a web app, that is you're innovating, and you write a GitHub repo about it. You write a description about it, right? This is innovation, which we talk about. And what is research? Just you need to write little more about that innovation. That is research in a particular format, in a particular way. And I guess I don't think there is a key that binds together because they are together. So that's about it. I hope that is answered, Deepika. When did you start? So the thing is, my I started reading about stuff right from my first year. So I was interested in, like, I was always interested in machine learning and computational intelligence. I completed the famous Andrew Ng course in Coursera right before I stepped into my engineering. And after that, I did some projects. Like, I worked on breast cancer detection using machine learning. I worked on swarm robotics in my first year. Till now, I'm just working on some projects like you, like mini projects and stuff. Research hasn't started yet. In my second semester, which is like late first year, actually at the end of first year somewhere, one of my professors suggested me to write about the project which I'm doing, and I wrote the project, wrote about it. Like, I just wrote a normal document about it, and then she suggested me some changes that do this, do this, do this, do this. I did that, and later she said, "This is what research paper is called," and I was like, "Okay, what is that?" So she told me about research paper. So I was that novice in the thing that I didn't even know about what is research and what is research paper. And then she guided me. I sent my paper to one of the conference, which was Springer conference happening in New Delhi. I got rejected over there like terribly because I guess the plagiarism was high. Later I reduced it. I edited some stuff. I worked on those reviews. I again submitted it to another Springer conference, which happened in Pune in Maharashtra. I got accepted. That paper got published. Later I worked on another paper. I got that published. Later I worked on another paper which I published in Dubai, which I traveled as solo trip to Dubai for free. And that's exciting, and that's what excites other people to work in research. That definitely, traveling for free was one of my greatest attraction to work in research area. And that's how my little journey of research went. And now I'm working with great professors at UPenn and trying to solve some of the problems, real life problem which University of Pennsylvania has identified. It has been, I guess, 5 months I'm working there. I've already completed one project. We have almost written a paper on it. I'm co-author with some of the great researchers and professors at University of Pennsylvania. Um, and I'm stepping to another project which we have already started at that internship itself. And that's how my small journey at as a researcher had been. How design thinking is relevant in research field. Well, I'm not sure because design thinking, it research generally talks about the area which is the concept, the core concept. And design thinking, if we talk about product design or some design of some innovation like the end product, definitely it's not something which comes into research directly, or not something which I've worked upon, because as I said, everything comes into research, but I guess that's not something which I've worked upon. But definitely, if you search on Google Scholar on these areas, you will find something relevant about it, and that will definitely help you get down with the thing. I guess I'll put down some links about the travel grants as well, because that might help you. Okay, it's called ITS, International Travel Support, which is provided by SERB. So I'm putting in the chat. Please flash it after this question. Okay, what are the scopes, scholarship opportunity, etc. of pursuing research during undergrad study and higher research after it, preferably abroad? So, with this question, I understand that you are planning for higher studies outside, and for higher studies, research is damn important. So if you have watched any video or any seminar on higher studies, so this link which is flashing right now is about travel support grant by Government of India. This you can check out. And yeah, talking about higher studies, it is definitely important. I have plans for going for graduate programs, preferably PhD or masters in the field of data science and machine learning. If we talk about data science and machine learning, even if you want to work in corporates, if you've seen those qualification, like if you go to any job website, any career page, and see what are the eligibility for roles in data science and machine learning, like senior roles or good roles, they'll talk about that you need to at least have masters, or some of them just require PhD. So that's how greater level of knowledge is important in this area. It is important. Um, Usually, what universities where you apply for ask is, please submit a letter of recommendation from your research supervisor, because they want to know what things have you been interested in. Apart from these, even as an undergrad, there are many opportunities like study abroad opportunities. For example, short-term research programs which are organized by some or the other universities in US, in European countries, which you can search for. And these programs are fully sponsored. There are some programs which are running in association with the government of India and the government of that country. Even in India, there are some research programs which are organized by IITs, triple ITs, and this will definitely help you create your good profile for study abroad in future. I hope that answers your question. How to select objective for research? Yeah. So for this, you need to review. You need to create a great study. You need to do a study of what people have already worked on, uh, and depending upon what people have worked on, you can just decide what do you want to work on. What are the requirements these days, and depending upon what requirements are there, you can just decide your own objective for your research, and that's how it goes. I guess it's okay. Okay, we have more questions. Is it important to have IEEE membership for getting more info on research? No. The benefit of IEEE membership in research area is that if you're willing to go for IEEE conference, then you might get some fundings. But in that case, I suggest you that once you get some opportunity where you can get funding, then apply for IEEE membership, because that will be a good option. Or other than that, if you have got some even IEEE membership offers you some discount on registration fee for conferences. So, for example, if there is IEEE conference happening in India, the general registration fee is around 5,000, 6,000, and if you're IEEE student member, then they give you it can be done even in 3,000. So sometimes it is just 50% off. Sometimes it is lesser, but they have some or the other discounts for student researchers who are IEEE members. I hope that answers all the questions. In case if you have more question, you can reach out to me through my Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn handle, which is same, Vedant_Bahel, and I'll be happy to answer your questions through there. If you're willing to work on some research project under my guidance, I'm very happy to help you even with that. Uh, so that's it. Since I see no question, thank you for having me here. Um, Thank you, Mohit, Vinayak, Rishikesh, and everyone. Thank you.
Well, it was a great session of knowledge and enlightenment on the topic of curiosity, research, and all the phases and problems that lie in the way. It isn't getting out of the world that makes us enlightened, but getting into it and meeting great brains like your good self, sir. With this, I thank Mr. Vedant Bahel for the time and effort Sir has put to encourage the participants for getting into a new field of research. I also thank all the participants who interactively asked questions and helped all again to gain knowledge from Sir. Thank you so much again, Sir.
Thank you. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Everyone learned something new today, and do implement it. And I'm always there if you need any help. So reach out to me. Thank you.